Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about Family Plot. And this movie is directed by Alfred Hitchcock, starring Bruce Dern, and it came out in 1976. And this was Alfred Hitchcock's last movie before he sadly passed away. I thought this movie was pretty great. It had everything that I love about his movies. I love the characters, and I kind of liked that they weren't just plain protagonists in this movie. Even though Alfred Hitchcock isn't a director who has movies that are always the same characters and very likable characters, in the sense that, like, yes, I can see myself being this character and living my life exactly how this character would live their life. Instead, they're kind of like criminals in a sense that he chooses to focus on. Not exactly characters that you're really rooting for, but he manages to make it interesting. And the directions the story goes down, I really enjoyed, like all of his movies. Not just for the time period, but also as a standalone film. I think it really works in terms of how things are presented. And I liked the characters a lot. I found them to be very interesting. Even the villains of the movie were great and interesting. Really great performances. I liked that it was a kind of a film where they were kind of separate stories where you're kind of feeling like, okay, why are we focusing on a couple of different characters? So, like, this isn't really coming together for me. And that's how I kind of felt a little bit. But as the movie goes along, it starts to merge these things together. And then you start discovering, oh, that's how these are connected. And it becomes a lot better. And retrospectively, looking back on a lot of things that happened earlier in the film, I can think, oh, that's why things were presented in that way. And I also like the idea of our main characters just stumbling across this big thing, because normally in any other movie it would be like a detective story, like a private investigator, like Chinatown or something like that, would stumble upon something like this. But instead of like an investigator or whatever, or just an average citizen, no, we're focused on, I guess, almost con artists, which I find to be kind of interesting. And there were some really funny comedic moments in this film that really worked for me. Not that it happens often, but when it does happen, I found it to be pretty funny. Bruce Dern, in this movie, he was kind of funny in it. Not that he has zero serious moments in this film, but I was always engaged watching him, and I think this is like one of the earliest films I've seen Bruce Dern in, and it took a while to get used to seeing him in this movie. Like, you're so young in this film, and this movie is almost 50 years old. And this movie is very well shot. You can see everything clearly, and each shot has intent behind it. And there's a really great scene in this movie where characters are in a car, and the way that it's shot is very engaging, and it's kind of like an action scene, basically. And that's what I liked about it. And it fully delivers on it, or at least that's how I felt about it. And I thought the music was great. It was composed by John Williams, which I did not expect, and actually didn't know until his name popped up in the credits. There were also some memorable side characters in this movie that only had like 1 minute of screen time, but they're still memorable, and they do add to the world that this movie is set in, I feel. And my only issue that I have with this film is some noticeable green screen in the film that's used in the background whenever a character is driving a car. I'm starting to notice that a bit more frequently now, that a lot of Alfred Hitchcock movies just have a green screen in the background whenever a character is driving a car, but it's always noticeable. And it's just so sad that I have to kind of criticize his movies for that, because every time we're driving a car and it's trying to show off a character's face and get their reaction, you can always just see in the background there's a green screen being used, and it doesn't look that great. But luckily it's not a big chunk of the movie. So definitely check this movie out. I thought this movie was pretty great. I thoroughly loved this experience that I had with this film. And it was also kind of sad while watching this movie, because it was Alfred Hitchcock's last film, like I've said already, and just thought I'd mention that as well. Like, watching it was a really great experience, but also kind of sad because this is kind of the end. Even though there are plenty of Hitchcock movies that I haven't seen yet, and I looked up how many I've seen and how many I have not seen, and just including feature-length films, the number of movies he's directed that I'm missing is, I believe, 35. So I'm far from done. So he's made a lot of movies, for those who don't know. And I've seen like 19 of them. But anyways, definitely check this movie out. I thought it was pretty great. Just about anyone can watch it. I can't imagine anyone watching this movie and not getting anything out of it. So check this movie out whenever you get the chance. And with all that being said, I'm going to give Family Plot a 10 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos as always. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below you thought of Family Plot, and my social media links, they will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see you when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for Gangs of New York. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.